Okay, maybe it was just turning off and off and off because the batteries were dying. I don't know, maybe that's what's going on. Anyway, so here I am again. This is part 2. Actually, it's like the 5th or 6th one, but part 2 where I get to say anything of how to make bread with a bread maker. So I will recap. I wrote the recipe down here. Now how to do it. First, with my white bread, I fill up 1 1/3 cups of warm water. As warm as it goes on your hand, because the yeast will still work if it's as warm as you can stand easily on your hand. Okay, make sure your bread maker container is down deeply in here. If it's not down in deeply enough, then the thing in the middle won't spin. Now I don't clean mine out because I don't clean anything, and there's no germs in there, so it's okay. If there were, they would die. Okay, so 1 1/3 cups water, 2 tablespoons of milk powder. I can't have milk, so I never put that in. 1 teaspoon of salt. That's a lot of salt. So here's my little teaspoon, which I'm going to keep in the teaspoon dish, and I just dumped it in. 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt. 1 tablespoon of sugar. I'm going to keep this right here with my tablespoon measure. Where'd my tablespoon measure go? I had to use it for something else. Okay, so there's my tablespoon for sugar. Dip it in, dump it out. Now it's important that you put these in the right order. 2 tablespoons of butter or margarine. You know what I did? I had some fat from making sausages yesterday, so I used that. You see? That was before I spilled it, and it went everywhere. And now I have a big mess here, which I have to clean up because you can't have... It's behind all those containers too. Anyway, not for this video. Okay, 2 tablespoons of butter or margarine, and in my case I use my fat from the sausages because I think that'll add a lot of flavor to the bread. And then 3 3/4 cups of flour. Okay, so I can't find my 1 cup, and I don't have a 3 3/4 cup container, but I have this. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to cut it to fit exactly. So I have a 3/4 cup thing. Now here comes the math thing again. So 3/4 once, twice, that's 6/4. Nine quarters. Hold on, three cups. So 3/4, you have to have 12 of these, right? 12 quarters makes 3 cups. Okay, 3 cups. And then, now I need another 3/4. Oh, look at this. I wonder if it'll fit. So, it doesn't quite fit. Now if I tamp it down, look at that. 3 3/4 cups is this entire yogurt container tamped down. Wow, that was simple. Now I won't have to measure anymore. I'll just keep that in the flour bag. And then 1 teaspoon of yeast. You buy your yeast in bulk, right? You gotta buy your yeast in bulk because it's cheaper. I keep it in the freezer. Of course, perhaps not in the freezer portion of an old fridge. A little fridge. Just get ice. This big ice chunk on it. Oh, whatever. It's not going to melt in the middle. Okay, so we need to have... This is not working. I don't have to melt this off. I dreamed last night that we went walking through a lake to get to something on the other side, or in the middle of it, and the lake became icy, slushy, and we just kept on walking and walking. But Willem was further ahead, and it was solid where he was, so I gave up. I went back. Okay, so there we go. And now we want 1 teaspoon of yeast. So that's the same as the one that's in there. 1 teaspoon of yeast. See, the yeast goes on top of the flour. Everything else is under it. Okay, now for basic bread, it's usually already pointed at basic bread. All you have to do is push start. And it tells you there in 3 hours and 50 minutes you will have 1 loaf of bread. And your children can come and eat it right up, and you won't even have to worry about it being there for another day. In fact, you have time to make another one later. Okay, so that was your discussion on how to make bread with a bread maker. For a Black & Decker bread maker, you just Google your type of bread maker, and you get your white bread recipe. Whole wheat bread, if you add whole wheat, it'll make it half as big. It doesn't really make very good whole wheat bread, only white bread. But if you got teenagers, they like white bread anyway. They're not concerned about nutrition. There is a whole wheat recipe that makes it just fine?
Tons of them.
Really? Mine always made it half as big.
Did you follow the recipe?
Well, of course. Do I look like I don't follow the recipe? Hello.
No, mine makes them fine.
I taught my children to make bread when they were little, and they all make bread. Isn't that cool? They've all got bread makers. Look at that. Does he look like
making bread? It's more measuring ingredients, but okay.
Okay, so we measured the ingredients, and now they are. And now you can do this at home. But I would recommend that you put your yeast back in the freezer, because you don't want all those little germs. What are yeasts called? What are they? Are they germs, or are they... They are alive.
They are alive.
What are they? He's thinking. Okay, quick.
I don't remember.
Quick. So yeast is some kind of a microbe. Is a germ a microbe? Possibly. Hey, I wonder if you're adding germs to your bread. Hey, that gets me right off the hook. People are so worried about germs. Okay, well, it's Nancy today. Let me show you that I think a hat will fit on my head now that if I don't wear my clips. Let me show you my hat on my head. But, you see, it's still, it doesn't really look as good anymore. I look better without a hat now. Even though they are incredible hats. Aren't they beautiful? I was going to make a company's over the top. You see, isn't that a beautiful hat? Okay, ta-ta.